On today's show,
we haven't had any serious talks with any of our big universities who would need to be the host of that. And if they come to us, we'll definitely listen and see what they think.
Rev up those engines. Another episode of Kansas Sports Chatter has arrived. My name is Cole Rife. Welcome into the show, whether you're listening on the podcast or watching on YouTube. It is a statewide high school sports entertainment show for Kansas. Hey, we got another great one coming up, but also like when you start something out on YouTube, and we're just over a month in, this is episode number 12 of the show. But when you start something up on YouTube, you start to get questions that you never really expected, which is good because we want the show to be as interactive as possible. Hit us up with questions, suggestions on social media or YouTube. And it's not like we have a lot of them. It's not like we have like a million followers or watchers or anything like that. So there's just a few that have come in that I do want to answer. For instance, a question I never expected to get, like, why do you have a penguin in the background? Well, simple answer is I like penguins, and somebody got that for me, so that's why this guy's here. His name's Suits. But it was almost like the question was alluding to, like, why don't you have different animals that pop up on the show from time to time? Well, I don't have a zoo of these guys. Like, this is the only one I got, so that's the one that stays in the show. Another question was, like, what, even like clothing, like why do you wear these shirts? Never expected to get that question. I go for comfort on the show, so that's why I wear these shirts. But if you want to see something different, feel free to mail me your team colors or your team shirts or polo or whatever it may be, any type of apparel. I'll wear it for a day. Now, I can't wear it every day, but if you want to see your team shirt on the show, I'll wear it for the open and the close. So feel free to ship that to me, reach out to, and we'll get you hooked up with a mailing address if you want to see some different clothing. So there's the answers of those questions. Let's get to the good stuff. Today's show, the guest, Stephen Carroll of St. Thomas Aquinas and Brecken Albert of Augusta, will be our leadoff question. Carson Dixon out of Basehor-Linwood, he was voted as the big performance athlete for his performance last Friday night. We'll talk with Carson. Jon Orndorff, Tonganoxie soccer coach, will be our quality time interview. Mark Lentz with KSHSAA, in charge of overseeing football for KSHSAA. He'll be talking about playoffs and how things are set up in the state right now and maybe any changes in the future. Brian Hill and Brandon Hill with Hill Brothers Football will highlight some Western Kansas football players that we need to be watching out for. And Brandon Kerr of Fort Hays State University on the O-line for the Tigers, and out of Maize High School will be our next level talents. Here we go. This is the leadoff question. It is our leadoff question on Kansas Sports Chatter with Stephen Carroll, a student athlete with the St. Thomas Aquinas football team. Stephen, what advice would you give any freshman entering varsity football?
Thank you for having me on the show. I'd say I have two things. My first thing are grades. If you don't maintain your grades, you can't play. Coaches see that. Second thing is learning the plays. My biggest problem when I played varsity as a freshman was not understanding the plays, and I had a really hard time figuring it out as a freshman, and that's my advice.
What helped you to learn those plays? Like, was there any trick that anybody offered you as far as how to remember the plays a little bit better, or just take time?
It would take time, but also I figured out by the end of freshman year, I got a lot of reps in. And I practiced after practice with some of the older kids who helped me out. I had great teammates who helped me.
Go back to that freshman year. What was it like? What do you remember going into that freshman year?
So I went in freshman year, played a freshman game. Then I got asked to come up. I didn't play the first game pulled up. But then once the starter messed up, I got pulled in, and I had to ask my right tackle, Carson Kraft, what to do every single play for the next 5 games till I figured it out.
Did Carson easily let you know, or did he give you a good look?
He told me he told me what to do. We would be on the line, and he'd be like, "You have him," and just point at the guy that had the game.
Did anybody else give you any advice that freshman year? Anything that stood out to you as far as advice?
I mean, really, my right tackle, Carson Kraft, he just told me how to do a lot of reps, of it. So we would stay after practice and then go over 20 plays, watch film as a team and with him on my own, go home. I would take notes of the plays and what to do, who to get, and how to know the difference between like a 4 and a shade and a 3 and a 1.
Now, as an upperclassman, Steven, do you reach out to the freshmen or do you wait for them to come to you with any questions?
I try to help. Some people like that a lot. I help them the most I can. I help them.
That is Steven Carroll of St. Thomas Aquinas football with our leadoff question. It is today's leadoff question on Kansas Sports Chatter as we're joined with Brecken Albert, a member of the Augusta football team. Brecken, what advice would you give any freshman coming into varsity football?
My advice would be trust the process. You might not be the biggest or you might not start immediately, but if you just keep working and doing your thing, it'll all come into place.
When did you learn that lesson? When did you kind of learn that advice?
I learned it like freshman year football season where I wasn't really playing much and I just didn't know what to do, but I trust the process and been 3-year starter since.
Did anybody reach out to you when you were a freshman as far as giving you advice?
Yeah, Coach Elliott, head coach here.
Anything specific that he told you that freshman year?
Told me that if I just focus up in the weight room and get my weight up, I'll have my chance. And ever since then, I've been on the varsity field.
Was the weights were like concentrating in the weight room? Was that one of the biggest focuses for you to get better?
Yeah, definitely. Freshman year, I was 120 pounds, and then went into sophomore year like 150, 155. So it was definitely a big factor in my improvement.
Now, as one of the upperclassmen for Augusta, how much are you reaching out to some of those freshmen, some of those new players with advice?
Me and all the rest of the seniors definitely try to help out as much as we can. We always, every time they might not want to come out the next day or they're just scared to, we always tell them that it'll all work out. And if they keep showing up, they'll always see their improvements and they'll be out there before they know it.
You feel like that makes a pretty big impact, hearing that from someone that's already been through that now as a senior?
Yeah, I definitely believe so. I think that if they can see it, it makes it easier for them to believe, and it'll push them harder.
That is Brecken Albert with Augusta football with today's leadoff question. That's good advice. Good advice for anybody. Steven Carroll, St. Thomas Aquinas, and Brecken Albert of Augusta with our leadoff question. We'll take a break in the action. When we come back, Carson Dixon, the quarterback of Basehor-Linwood, he had a big performance last Friday night. He was voted as our big performance athlete interview. We'll have that chat after this.
Respecting our sports officials is an important aspect in our activities and for our communities. We need to cheer for our teams while also supporting the officials who help make the game possible to create a positive sports environment. These individuals dedicate their time and effort to ensure fair play and maintain the integrity of the game. They make tough calls in the heat of the moment, and their decisions are crucial for the safety and fairness of all players involved. When we show respect for our officials, we set a great example for athletes and fans.
Are you looking for Kansas high school sports coverage and entertainment? Then Kansas Sports Chatter is the place for you. It's a statewide sports show that focuses on high school athletics and includes several guests each episode. Kansas Sports Chatter is easy to find. Listen anywhere you get your podcasts and watch anytime on YouTube. And the best part, it's 100% free to listen to or watch. High school sports and entertainment. Come join the chatter. Kansas Sports Chatter. It is our big performance interview on Kansas Sports Chatter. Over the weekend, we will always put out a post on social media where anybody can nominate a student athlete that had a big performance in any sports, and the person that has the most nominations, likes, and reposts on Twitter or X will have an opportunity, or at least be invited, to be on the show. So make sure you can go to both Facebook and Twitter to put those nominations in to get the most points. Our guest today for the big performance is going to be Carson Dixon. He is a member of the football team for Basehor-Linwood, our big performance athlete. So, Carson, I'll read through your stat line here. Last Friday night in the win against Shawnee Heights, 14 of 18 passing, 198 yards, couple touchdowns, then 4 carries, 47 yards, also 2 more touchdowns. So when I saw that, I just saw like really efficient. Like, how much do you pride yourself in just being an efficient quarterback?
Yeah, that's one of the biggest things for a quarterback is your completion percentage and what you can do with the ball and making sure you take care of it. So it's definitely a big part of my game that I take a lot of pride in.
Did you have a really, it seemed like you had a good rhythm in that game. Did you feel that rhythm early on in the game?
Yeah, of course. I think the whole team had a good rhythm going, and just practice was so good that we felt confident in our game, and we had a good rhythm the whole game.
At what point did you feel like, okay, hey, this has a chance to be a pretty good performance?
I think from practice, I think even before the game, Friday just felt great because we prepared the whole week for it. So I knew way before the game that it was going to be a good one.
What was working so well in that game? What did you see that maybe the defense was giving you?
I would say just kind of what we planned for, just kind of taking what the defense gave us. We knew that we would get some one-on-one matchups outside that we could kind of exploit. So just taking what they gave us.
Who's the first person you celebrate after the game?
Definitely my mom and dad. They put so much effort into just giving me what I can have. So just definitely mom and dad.
After that 3-0 start, what has been key for you guys and Basehor-Linwood to get off to this great start?
I think our practice and focus. We pride ourselves a lot on our practice being really locked in for the whole week, and everyone being really competitive. So I think if we keep doing that, we can have a great season.
What did you work on the most during the offseason to get ready individually?
I would say footwork is a big deal that I've been working on a lot over the offseason. It definitely got a lot better. Working on stepping into the throws, stepping up into the pocket, knowing when to get out and not take unnecessary sacks.
At DeSoto this Friday night, what's been the game plan so far, and what's it going to take to knock off DeSoto on Friday?
I can't say too much, or coach might kick my butt. But they're a really good team, and I think it's going to be a good game. But they're a blitz heavy on defense, so just learn how to pick up those blitzes and know where to go with the ball.
Carson, appreciate it. Nice game last Friday night, and best of luck the rest of the season.
Thanks for having me on there.
That is Carson Dixon, a member of the football team for Basehor-Linwood, and that is our big performance athletes. SPX Specialized Video Wall Solutions. Your gym needs SPX. It is our quality time interview on Kansas Sports Chatter, an opportunity to spend a little extra time with our next guest. And today's guest, Jon Orndorff, the head soccer coach at Tonganoxie High School. Coach, appreciate your time. And I was talking to a golf coach earlier, and I was asking her, like, is the month of September like one of the ideal times to be playing golf? So I'll ask you the same question. Is September a pretty good month for soccer, or do you have a better preference?
October is my favorite for sure. September, it's not that bad. This fall has been great, but you ride those heat waves too, so you're always having to change your schedule. And sometimes now with these heat rules, they're making you go at 5:30 in the morning just so you can get your practice in. And so October, you're guaranteed pretty much just to play. But it's pretty nice too. It beats August by far.
That's what I was going to say. What is it like when you're training during the summer, during the heat, and then you obviously are working your way up to hopefully something special in October, November? So, like, what is that like just going from one end to the other?
It's a struggle beginning with just, especially your coaching wise, you're having to take time for water and stuff like that, just stay hydrated and make sure guys are fine. But it helps because by the time you get to October, though, the guys are fit, and that nice, cool, 50-degree game isn't a big deal and doesn't wear on them as bad. But starting early in that August, it's a little bit of a struggle to start. But and the cramps happen a lot more, and then they just kind of magically disappear as the season goes on, which is great for the guys because I mean you don't want to see them cramping up at all. But it's just the Kansas weather is just kind of crazy for the boys season.
Well, in the month of September, what do you expect from your team? Like, what things are you looking to see as far as improvements go or anything like that? Like, what do you want to see from your team in September?
Yeah, so especially your first few games for us, it's gonna be mistakes left and right. And what I tell them is like, make your mistake. And if we make our mistakes now and we learn from them, or in October it should pay off, or we're gonna not make that mistake. And so I'm full force. Let's go. Just do what you can as fast as you can, so we can make that mistake, and then we can get ready for October. But you're also doing the team building part where the guys are you're trying to get them all to cohesive units and to be buddies with each other at the same time. But then you're also working to can we get that first touch, make sure it's right, and then what do we do when we get the ball? So you're hammering that more down in September, because October you kind of get into the tactical side of it. So but September is more fundamental, make sure we're cohesive, and then just enjoy the ride as we make mistakes left and right, but that's fine.
Is that an easy message to get across? And I guess just even educating and coaching, guys and gals that are 15, 16, 17, 18 years old, is that an easy message to get across?
And it's difficult. I mean, each player is going to take it differently as well. Because they'll make their mistake and they'll hang their head during the game, and you're just, hey, we're going to make that mistake. And really, what I want to see, I want to see you pick your head up and just keep playing. Don't take that time off. Some players they understand it a little bit better than others, but by the end of the season, I think everybody understands, because beginning of the season, I think they learn that I'm not going to pull them because you made a mistake in that game. I'm going to pull you because you look gassed or you just look lost. But I'm not going to, you had a bad pass. So what? We're going to have tons of those. So that it just, some guys understand, especially the older guys, and then the newer guys coming into the program. It just takes them a little bit. But we don't ride them that hard on mistakes, especially early in the year. So that helps out a lot. I think if it was different, if we were just getting on to them every time they made that mistake, I think that would be a little bit harder to pick up for them. But we're pretty forgiving, because this is the perfect time to make those mistakes.
Sticking with that, trying to get that message across, Coach, have you noticed like some of them might relate more to their peers or, from a teammate or an upperclassman? And if so, like, how do you kind of do that balance? Okay, hey, I'm going to tell you this, but maybe you're going to relate better if, one of your teammates tells you.
Yeah. Oh, well, we're very fortunate this year. We have some really good senior leadership. We've a couple of seniors that have been here for a while, and they understand. They've been with the program. They understand what needs to happen, and they're great players too. So there's times where I just go through that player and like, hey, there's a couple ways I'm gonna have you kind of run stuff. So I have one senior, he leads our warm-ups and everything. So that kind of gets things ball rolling. So the guys kind of get used to him and trusting him and saying, okay, hey, this is the guy we go to. And then also I might pull one of these guys to the side and just say, hey, I just need you to kind of get on to this kid, not in a bad way, but encourage him and pick him up and tell him all this good stuff he's doing, and then help him. Look out for, if we're doing the session, I want you to look and see what he's doing and then pay attention and then kind of help correct that. And I think, like, you're spot on. It helps so much more when you have those players and that are looked up to by the younger guys in the program, and it's going to help a lot. And there's some guys where they just ask you to, just yell at me. I want to be yelled at. And so you appreciate that too, because, and this time of the way the age is now, I don't feel like you have that as much in the soccer world, where players want to be yelled at. It was when I was playing and younger, I was just, you got yelled at if you get messed up. And so it's a totally different world, I think, now from when I played when I was younger to where we are at now. But you're finding different routes to connect to those players. And it might not even be me. I might be trying to, I'll connect with my senior more, and then he can push it on to the guys that need it.
Talk with Jon Orndorff, the head coach of the Tonganoxie soccer teams. Why coaching for you? What got you interested in the game of soccer and then going on to coach?
Well, I've played soccer all my life, and played a year of college and had a knee injury, so I figured that was kind of done. And so I was actually doing a kick around with some friends, and then one of them, he actually ran a club program. He's like, "Hey, I want you to come coach with us." So Keith Nelson was his name, and so I went and coached with him, and I learned a heck of a lot. He's an awesome coach. He's known around here for he's a club. I can't remember what it is, but with the athletics. And so it was a point where he had 7 club teams, and I was just right there next to him through it all. So just learning a lot. And then I was contacted by Matt Gordon, and he's the awesome coach as well. And he wanted to see if I was interested in going back to my alma mater and coaching high school for Maranatha Academy. So, and I was like, yeah, I'd love that. That'd be awesome. So that's kind of what got me started 10 years ago in the high school world. And then did coach there for a couple of years, took over the girls program there as well. And I fell in love with the high school game and loved coaching them because you get to connect more, I think, than, I mean, you might have them for 3 months, but they see you throughout the whole year. And when you're around the school, being a Rule 10 coach, so I'm not teaching there, but I try to make my presence known and see them throughout the year. And I just building those relationships with those kids, it's just great. And then to where now it's so rewarding. Just not even the soccer part you get invited to weddings of past players and stuff like that, and just see them grow through life. And I think that's my favorite thing now is building these relationships with these guys and seeing where they go in life and knowing you had a tiny, tiny bit in helping them get where they're at. But it's been such a great journey coaching, and I've been here with Tongi with the boys for 8 years, and I've loved every second. And I couldn't imagine coaching anywhere else. It's such a great school. The leadership here is great, and just the boys are just wonderful.
You mentioned 8 years now at Tonganoxie. Like, what was the initial attraction to come over there with Tonganoxie, and then what was that experience like when you were first starting out?
So when my wife and I, we decided when we were going to get married, we're going to build a house out here near Tongi. That's where she lives or lived her whole life. And then so we started building the house, and then the job was posted, and I was like, it'd be a big jump. We were 2A at Maranatha and going to a 4A, and I just thought, man, that'd be hard to get. And then somehow they hired me and chose me. So that was really just, I wasn't driving 45 minutes to go coach, and I got to move up to a bigger program. And then coming in my first year, it's different. You're going from where I was Maranatha and I didn't have a JV team to where now you have consistently 40 guys every year.
Sure.
And it's just different in having to wrap your head around, okay, we've got to develop these guys JV wise. And then also we've got to work with the varsity and just keep high level on the varsity. But my first year, we had the only undefeated regular season in Tonganoxie history. And then we ended up losing in the quarterfinals to Spring Hill in 2017. So that was a fun ride. It was really fun. And that really, I mean, any coach that goes into their first school year with that school and, you go undefeated in your regular season, I mean, I think you just fall in love with the school, and
Right.
It helps a lot. So I've been very fortunate to have that, had great groups of guys throughout the program. But that first group is very special, and that's not knowing them before I even came here. I was it's one of those risks you take, but it was the right move, and I've never looked back, and I've never even wanted anything else. This is Tongi is very special, and it's a very special town, and everybody's just involved together, and it's just been great.
Last one for you, Coach. I mean, a lot of times, like, people will classify certain towns or cities like, okay, hey, this is a baseball town, or this is a football city or football school. Like, what is the soccer culture like in Tonganoxie, and how has it grown?
When I first got here, it was you went rec, and then you went and played high school soccer. So back in 2018, I started a club program here as Tongi FC. And so that kind of got the ball rolling on the club side of it. And to see them grow, I think last year they were up to 7 teams. And then this year they just merged with Kansas City Athletics, so a way bigger club in Kansas City. But now they have all those resources. So, but now you look at the turf field. When we built it, I want to say it was 2020. We built that turf field here at the school. It is, you come here in the summer, you come in an evening, just in the off or in the fall and the spring, it's covered with soccer players. And so there's teams practicing and using it all the time. So that's just one, and it's club teams too. It's not just rec teams out there. So it's just wonderful to see. It's been growing and growing. So I think it's going to translate great for the boys, but also it's helping us build that girls program to where it needs to be as well.
Coach, appreciate the time and best of luck the rest of the season.
Hey, thank you. Thank you for all you do.
That is Jon Orndorff, the head coach of the Tonganoxie soccer teams. That'll do it for our quality time interview. Are you looking for a new way to promote your business or organization? Do you want to get your message out to a statewide audience that loves high school sports in both urban and rural areas? Kansas Sports Chatter has advertising opportunities from commercials, sponsoring specific guests, product placements, and even a premier sponsorship. Let Kansas Sports Chatter promote your brand. Contact ksportschatter@gmail.com for more advertising details. That's ksportschatter@gmail.com. Come join the chatter. Welcome back on Kansas Sports Chatter. It's time now for KSHSAA Info, and joining us on today's show is going to be Mark Lentz. He is one of the assistant executive directors for the Kansas State High School Activity Association and also oversees football in the state of Kansas. Mark, I know we're just getting started with the high school football season, but any big changes that we need to know about as far as the playoff situation and any scenarios like that for any of the classifications this year?
Not this year. I mean, this year is just the second year of the cycle that took place a year ago. So, we're going to finish up this year. We're excited about the start of any time we start football season. So, it brings excitement not only for us, but also excitement for all the communities that are involved and the schools that represent those communities. So we look forward to it. And before we know it, we'll be talking about 26-27 seasons.
How big of a hit was it last year with the implementation of getting multiple state championships at one site with 6-man, 8-man, all in Greensburg, 1A through 3A in Hutchinson this year again, and then 4A through 6A in Emporia? How big of a hit was that?
I think it was good. I think there's always going to be some people who look at it and say, well, we liked it the other way, which we understand that too. I mean, I think the biggest goal by doing so was to at least allow people an opportunity to see more games. I think it was great for the media to be able to see more games. And probably one of the things that we didn't want to lose, though, was give some opportunity after games for fans to be on the field and be with their players and be with their kids and be with their communities. And although we may have shortened it a little bit for everybody, but still getting that opportunity.
I think that's kind of one of the reasons, I guess, going into my next question. I know there's got to be talks and people throughout the state have always mentioned it. Any serious conversations of ever combining all the classifications for state football into one location? I know some area states do it, but has there ever been anything feasible for the state of Kansas for something like that?
We're always looking if we can make something better for our kids and our communities, we would do it. We haven't had any serious talks with any of our big universities who would need to be the host of that. And if they come to us, we'll definitely listen and see what they think. But in turn, we got to keep in mind, if we do something like that, we do take away some of that time that I mentioned that's valuable for our communities to be on the field. So we have to weigh all those options, and we'll get input from our schools and those schools who have played over the last few years in our championships to see what they like or what they don't like what we do.
For a number of years, the upper classifications in football, Mark, they had that, the higher seed would get to host throughout the playoffs until the state championship game. The smaller classifications in 11-man were able to do that last year. What was the big push to get those smaller classifications on the same page?
Yeah, I think, when they asked for that, they went through the Athletic Director Association and the Kansas Coaches Association and said, we feel like we've earned the right to host by winning and doing what we've done during the regular season. And our board agreed and made that change. And we think it's a good change. I know that, we went to this system, giving people an equal opportunity to host and the number of home games that you get, is valuable. But I think what you do on the field is very valuable as well.
Any big push from 8-man to get something similar?
Yeah, there is a little push, and there was a push. And right now, the way that seeding is done, because it isn't really seeded, that is very difficult to do because we could get a 1 versus a 1, so to speak. If you win District A and you're going to meet the winner of District B in the second or third round, then who is the higher seed? So we get into that kind of an issue. And who's to say, we don't move towards more like, 3 through 1A did in the 11-player game. But, it's just a matter of, I think, really what it comes down to, whether or not people want to truly travel long distances during early part of the playoffs. But if they do and people want it and it comes to our board, then we'll see what happens.
When people look at the seeding, this is kind of getting into the weeds, I guess, really nitpicking, but when they look at that seeding and sometimes they will say, hey, this 8-0 is maybe better than this 8-0, and you look at some of those tiebreakers for those classifications, is it even possible to get like a strength of schedule calculator? Is that just getting way too complicated?
I don't know if it's complicated. I know that the conversations are being had. We've had some proposals brought to our board for consideration. And it's not just football. I think if we did it, it'd be around the table in all our different sports. But it's something we'll look at and try to figure out what is the best calculator, what is the best system to put in play. We don't also want to take away from the opportunity of our teams to be able to find games. We got some schools, if that was the case, the difficulty of finding games would be prevalent.
High school football in general, Mark, I guess just your overall thoughts on where it is at in the state of Kansas and just the popularity. It just seems like it's one of those booming sports.
No, I agree. It's probably one of the most scrutinized sports in America, but it's also one of the most popular sports in America. And I think it is that way in Kansas as well. And, people love it because I'll just use it as a varsity game. A varsity game is played once a week on a Friday night or Thursday night. And it's something that brings communities together. And I think when communities have something to do for 3 or 4 hours that evening, it is an opportunity for everybody to celebrate. I mean, granted, not everybody wins the game, but it's just an opportunity to celebrate your team, your school, your community, your kids in that community. And I think that's what, it's all about. And everybody loves competition, and that's what football provides.
Mark, appreciate your time.
No, thank you. And thanks for, supporting sports and supporting kids in Kansas.
Anytime. That's Mark Lentz, one of the assistant executive directors for the Kansas State High School Activity Association, and that'll do it for KSHSAA Info. Here's a hard truth. If your business isn't using AI in its marketing, you've already fallen behind. But there's an advertising agency in Kansas that can get you back up to speed. That agency's name is Meyers Enterprises Media Research. The name sounds dry because the company's run by engineers, not salespeople. They use superior research and analytics that drive results with surgical precision. Marketing doesn't have to be a gritty battle in the trenches. Your business can win from the box. Visit their website, mediaresearch.agency, to learn more. It is time for football chatter on the show, and our seasonal guests are going to be the folks from the Hill Brothers football. That is Brandon and Brian Hill, who have done an excellent job over the years, really showcasing and highlighting players in the western part of the state for the state of Kansas. All right, so you guys are coming on here. You're going to tell me some of the biggest and the baddest guys out there in the state right now after we got a few weeks of the high school football season under a belt. Brian, we'll start with you. Just who's the guy that's kind of caught your eye so far early on in the season?
Well, one that, I'm an offensive guy. And so Maxton Smiley, he's a young quarterback out at Colby High School that has been putting up video game numbers here. He's had, over 600 yards and 8 touchdowns and just has been a leader there and being a guy who's first started in varsity football to be able to get a start off to his season like that has been pretty tremendous. And, the amount of throwing and things, you just don't see that in Western Kansas very much. And so for him to be able to put up those kind of numbers, and their team was 1-1. Lost a really close game early on to Ulysses in the opening week, but since then they seem to be firing all cylinders. And he obviously has been working with his receivers and things over the summertime because of the continuity that you see in with him and that offense out there at Colby.
Yeah, it's been impressive so far. Brandon, anybody that's popped off the page for you so far?
Yeah, I would say what Hayes has done so far has been pretty impressive with, knocking off Derby and number 1 ranked team, and then an Oklahoma ranked number 1 team, Choctaw. Holden Lynn, he's the running back there at Hayes, and he's been consistent. He's had a couple 160-yard rushing weeks with a couple touchdowns each. I mean, that O-line there at Hayes is huge. That's kind of what they lean on, is that run game, and he's definitely produced those first 2 weeks, and it'll be interesting to see as they progress through the season, how much more that running game, that O-line carries them and how far they can go. But yeah, Holden Lynn's definitely stuck out these first 2 weeks. Yeah,
he has been a stud. Brian, anybody else that stood out to you?
Well, you can easily go to Victoria almost every year, but this year Kyle Hooser, leading that group. They've got a big senior class that has come back. They've won a lot of games there. Obviously, the tradition of Victoria runs deep, but they've been off to a great start. They have, a big comeback win against South Central, and that leadership and things. When you get 5 returning starters in an 8-man school, and he's anchoring it on the offensive and defensive lines, that, they've always been very productive on offense, and they have a very stingy defense. And, with that kind of a victory early on in the season, is going to kind of propel them, and who knows what's going to happen the rest of the way. But he's been a big, someone that was on the radar to us this summer, but has just continued to kind of prove his worth. And he's definitely somebody, I think, that, small colleges and things need to be paying attention to, because he plays much bigger than what is just going on in the 8-man world.
Yeah, a lot of talk on Victoria right now, and rightfully so. Kyle, a big part of that. Brandon, anybody else?
Yeah, I've had the opportunity to see this kid twice so far in person, Cooper Cranston of Holcomb. Last year he was a freshman, and he just played some receiver and some defense, and his role this year is expanded. He's the quarterback, and he still plays safety, and he returns kicks and he punts. I mean, week 1 against Cheney, that's a good Cheney team, and he definitely stood out as the best player on the field during that game. And it was muddy, rainy conditions, and he still, his athleticism, stood out. One play that probably doesn't. He ran back a kickoff that got called back, but one play that stood out to me that, we take for granted, he's the punter. And late in the game, about midfield, there was a high snap, and he was able to one-hand it that probably would have gone over and been a difference in the game, possibly at the end of the game, and he was able to snag it and still get it kicked off. And I think that was a big key to the game. But, last week he had 2 touchdown passes, 2 touchdown rushing. He had 3 picks. One of them goes for a pick 6, 50-yard punt. He's the punter. I mean, as a sophomore, he definitely makes an impact on all 3 phases of the game for sure for Holcomb.
So Coach Teeter's pretty happy over there right now, huh?
Oh, definitely. Definitely.
Well, one of the things you guys do so well is highlighting the individuals, but I also really like the way you guys go about highlighting some of the matchups that are coming up. So folks that maybe don't know the schedules or aren't looking at them so consistently, you guys do a pretty good job of hitting some of those Western Kansas matchups. How much do you enjoy that? And I guess anything else that we need to know about Western Kansas football right now?
Yeah, we try to highlight a few games each week that might be kind of players or games of the week for sure. Few teams that have kind of caught our eye early on that don't get the attention, maybe the preseason, that some of the others have is, 8-man one. Tree goes off to a 2-0 start with quality wins over Hill City and Hoxie. Hodgman County's off to a 2-0 start, and they're 8-man 2. They got a lot of kids returning, so, look for them, maybe late in the postseason. And Russell has had a couple good quality wins to start off, and they look like they could be a team that could be reckoned with in 2A. So it's kind of cool to see some of these teams that maybe don't get all the publicity as some of the other traditional powerhouses that are off to a good start, and maybe, this is their year.
Brian, Brandon, appreciate the time. Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Cole.
That is Brian and Brandon with Hill Brothers Football. You can check out them on social media. Keep up to date with everything going on in Western Kansas football.
Mental health is crucial, especially during high school activities. It is a time when we're juggling a lot, school, sports, and clubs, and it can get overwhelming. Sometimes we might feel stressed or down, and that's okay. It's okay to ask for help when we need it. Taking care of our mental health is just as important as our physical health. Remember to support each other and create a positive environment in our high school community.
It is Next Level Talent on Kansas Sports Chatter, our opportunity to talk to former high school athletes in the state of Kansas that are now competing at a college or university in the state of Kansas. And joining us today is going to be Brandon Kerr. He's a member of the Fort Hays State University football team and out of Maize High School. Hey, Brandon, appreciate you jumping on the show. What's it like going into now in your senior year at Fort Hays State?
First of all, thank you for having me, Cole. It's an honor. Going into my senior year at Fort Hays State, it's been amazing, and I'm ready to, get the season going and have a good one for sure.
For you, attending Maize High School, go back a few years there, Brandon. What was it like for you and just that experience?
Oh, it was amazing. I had a great time. Coach Guzman is an amazing leader of the program, and it was fun to see from my freshman to senior year how the program got built up and was able to make it to the first state championship in school history. So that was fun.
What was that process? You mentioned kind of building it up even more. What was that process like for you and just the rest of your teammates?
The process, you got to love the process. So as a freshman, I was able to come into a great senior class. They were great leaders, great mentors. So each year we were able to just build it up and make it to where the program was or is today.
Well, okay, so blocking for Avery Johnson at Maize to now, blocking for Caleb Heavner. Any differences? What are the differences between the two, just as far as their personality and their style?
Oh, they're both similar quarterbacks. They both don't like to get tackled. They're both fast. They both are elusive, but they're pretty similar. They're both great leaders of the huddle. They can command the huddle, and they're both great men for sure.
You mentioned making it to that state championship game, and I don't want to bring up any bad memories, falling to Mill Valley, but what was it like on that, especially your senior year and getting all the way to that state championship game? What were the playoffs like for you?
Oh, it was fun. I always say it's always good playing in cold weather. I mean, those were the coldest games I've probably played in. It's always good playing in cold weather. So, you're making it pretty far in the season.
I guess the game before that with Cape and Mount Carmel in the sub-state round, take me through that game and how wild that was. You guys ended up winning 22-21.
Yep. Shout out Landon Helm for getting the 2-point conversion. But it was a great game. It was definitely a nail biter for sure. But the defense came up clutch towards the end of the game, getting a big stop, and we were headed to Pittsburgh for the 5A state championship.
For you on the offensive line, have you always been in the same spot, and how much did you kind of shift around as far as positions throughout high school and kind of growing up?
Oh, I've always had my hand in the dirt. I've always been a pretty big boy, even growing up. So I played O-line, D-line, started playing football in second grade, played O-line then, and now I'm in my senior year of college. So still playing O-line, still have my hand in the dirt.
Why Fort Hays, Brandon? So what went into your recruiting process and ended up choosing the Tigers?
I just felt a great connection with the community and the coaches. Coach Brown, he's a great guy, and even from the beginning of the recruiting process, he always showed me love, and I just felt like this was the place to be for sure.
Playing your freshman year, you got in a few games and a little bit more that sophomore year and been really consistent here these last 2 years. Did you kind of have a good idea of what your playing schedule is going to be like that freshman year? What was that experience like?
Oh, I had no clue. I mean, I came in as a walk-on. So I came in as a walk-on, kind of just was ready to redshirt, pay my dues and get on scout team. But then there was a couple injuries, so I had to kind of step up and get thrown into the fire a little bit, which was a great experience. But it definitely was a great learning experience for me as well.
So when they told you, okay, hey, forget that walk-on stuff or forget that redshirt stuff, like now you're going to be playing, like what mentally switch did you make just to make sure you were ready for that?
Oh, I didn't really know what to expect. I was kind of just had to get ready. I mean, I had a great group of older guys that I could lean on as well. Just kind of what's the game like? I know it's faster, but those older guys definitely helped me get my mind right and be prepared to step on the field as a true freshman.
What's it like playing in Hayes for you and in front of that home crowd at Lewis Field Stadium?
Oh, Hayes is amazing. It always has a great community. Hayes is it's the best D2 environment in the nation. No one's thirsty, that's for sure.
So for you, what did you learn at Maize High School that you've kind of taken to the next level that's allowed you to have the success that you had at Fort Hayes so far?
I think Maize High School is ran just similar to a college program. Coach Mercado and Coach JJ do a great job of getting us ready for the games, and it's definitely the mental aspect. I mean, Coach Mercado will have us watching film with him almost every day, getting ready for the next opponent. So they definitely, it's definitely very similar to similarly ran to a college program for sure.
Hey, Brandon, appreciate your time. Best of luck the rest of the season.
Thank you, Cole, very much. Thank you for having me.
That is Brandon Kerr, a member of the Fort Hays State University football team and out of Maize High School, and he is our next level talent. Are you a person that's always on the go? You can still easily keep up with Kansas Sports Chatter with the audio podcast. Hear each episode on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Make sure to follow the Kansas Sports Chatter podcast. The end of another show is here for Kansas Sports Chatter. Make sure you like and subscribe on YouTube. You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram. We have shows coming out Tuesdays and Thursdays. Again, that question we received, why do I wear what I wear? Like I said, we go for comfort here, but if you want to see your team colors or your team mascot, I'll wear it. Throw it my way. We'll put it on for an episode. Like I said, I can only promise 1 or 2 episodes. Can't do it every day, but we'll wear your team colors if you want to see a change in the outfits. The bizarre things you get in the comments, but hit me up. We'll shoot you a mailing address for any type of apparel if you want to switch up the outfits. That'll do it. Appreciate it, everybody. We'll talk to you again next week.